Yes, SOS. I know they gon' remember me, cause I'm gon' leave a legacy.
Hey family, it's Dr. Dez here with another episode of the Bowtie Chronicles. I'm so excited that I'm here with you all today. SOS, thank you for creating this opportunity for us to just share one with another. And the goal is to empower individuals to be the best that they can be, the organizations that we work with, to make you the very best organization that you can possibly be. And we're doing so through this series that's called Changing Your Narrative by looking at diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we've been providing for you steps that will help you in changing your narrative. The first step, of course, is examine your culture and climate. The second step, prioritize diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then, of course, developing your plan, developing your action plan that will allow you to put the things into fruition that have developed as a result of you taking a look at your culture and your climate, taking a look at how you prioritize diversity, equity, and inclusion. And now it's time that the rubber would meet the road. Now it's time for us to develop this action plan and put things in place that will put us in a position where we've expanded our brand. We put individuals in a position where they can be the very best that they could possibly be. And we've empowered them to take that kind of action. Why? Because that's going to help us to fulfill our overall mission. So let's look at it again as we talk about examining your culture and your climate. That's taking an internal inventory of who you are as an organization, looking at why you do the things that you do, the way you do the things around here. Climate, how do people feel when they come in contact with our culture? Do they feel good? Do they feel bad? Do they feel hot? Do they feel cold? Do they feel like this is an environment that welcomes them as a consumer? Is it an environment that welcomes me as an employee? Is it an environment that allows me to be the person that I was created to be? I don't have to be involved in code switching. I don't have to be somebody else here than I am in my normal state, because in my normal state, I am potentially the best that I can possibly be, and always looking at my experiences to make me better. As we talk about prioritizing the diversity, equity, and inclusion that you experience within your organization or your institution, remember that diversity and inclusion are about giving value to every human being, no matter the differences. No matter the differences. And equity means that we've exposed everyone to the same opportunity. Both the internal and the external stakeholders have been exposed to the same opportunity, the same resources, and everyone is growing as a result of having this experience with our brand, with our organization, with our institution. And now we're at the point where we're looking at the development of your plan. After you've looked at your culture and your climate, you've looked at and you've developed a priority for respecting diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now let's develop your action plan. One of the first steps that you should engage in when you're looking at your action plan is actually to develop a survey. And that's simply a tool to assess and evaluate your current levels of satisfaction within the organization. Now, if we use today for an example, examining the expectations of your internal community, meaning your employees. Now we're looking at the employees and asking them for their feedback in regards to how they feel about the institution, how they feel about the brand that they're creating and or representing, right? So here are a few questions for you to consider putting in your survey as you try to assess the feelings of your internal community. That doesn't mean that you're not going to examine the external community, but let's begin with the internal community. As you look at your employees, as you look at the team members, it's important that you look at these types of concerns, right? So here's one of the questions. These are potential questions. You don't have to use these, but these are recommended questions. 1, time goes by quickly when I'm at work. I really put my heart into my job. I trust that I'm being treated fairly and my organization and the managers treat me as such. I work hard and I perform well, but I'm not exhausted. I anticipate opportunities to take action. These are simply 5 questions that you can ask your staff members, your team members, and based upon their responses, this can give you the base information that you need to develop your action plan. I recommend that when you go through asking these questions, frame them in a way, use those questions, the language that fits your organization best, but the responses are critically important. You should have your responses that range from I agree I disagree. I strongly disagree. This isn't applicable. And those are opportunities that you can gain information from because they are going to respond truthfully. It should be an anonymous survey. No one should know who said what in this respective survey, because that in and of itself will jade people's perspective. No one wants to take a survey if the survey information is going to be used against them. Remember, when you enter this process, it's best for you to enter with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. The desire is to expand the brand. The desire is to make every person feel as though they are part of the community, and they are. So you're not making it up. Make sure that the mission and vision is reflected in the organization on a daily basis, not only for the people who work there, but the people who experience your business. It's important that you get feedback from them on a regular basis, and you're going to use the survey as a tool to gain information that will allow you to develop a relevant action plan. I can't stress the importance of a relevant action plan. I use this analogy in working with organizations because quite often we will ask the wrong questions with the end in mind. We've asked the wrong questions, but because we've asked the wrong questions, we're not addressing the issue at hand. It's like going to the doctor. You were playing ball and you go to the doctor, and you know the reason that you're going to the doctor is because while playing ball, you injured your arm, right? So you go into the doctor's office and you're holding your arm because it doesn't feel good because of the experience that you had playing ball. And when you sit in the weight room, you're sitting there and you're rocking back and forth and you're holding your arm and you're like, oh man, it hurts. But when the opportunity presents itself for you to see the nurse and then you subsequently see the doctor, when presented the opportunity to tell the problem, you say, Doc, I don't know what happened over the weekend, but somehow I'm walking funny. I don't even understand it, Doc, but I woke up this morning, my foot wasn't feeling right, and I just need some relief. So now the doctor begins to give attention to your foot because that's the area that you stated the problem existed in. The doctor looks at your foot and says, yeah, well, we can give you this. And they provide you with a prescription that includes some exercise, some stretches and things of that nature. And then you leave the office holding your arm. Come on, people. Let's be for real. If we're trying to be honest and sincere and trying to change the narrative, we've looked at our culture and our climate. We've looked at and prioritized issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And now is the time for us to get some legitimate, relevant feedback from the individuals who mean most to us, our most valuable resource, and that is our internal community. And so now the internal community has given you feedback based upon how they feel on a regular basis, the culture that's created there, the climate that's created there, the fact that diversity, equity, and inclusion has been factored in. And now you're asking me the question about how I feel as an individual contributing to a community that respects diversity, equity, and inclusion. They give you all of this great data that will allow you to change the narrative within your organization, but you take that data and you don't use it appropriately. You got to understand. When you're looking at things such as this and you've gone through painstakingly gone through step 1, you've painstakingly gone through step 2, now you find yourself at step 3 and you have the data so that you can make the change that you necessarily need to do in order to get you to the next place. You've developed a plan, and that's awesome. Awesome. You followed A, you followed B, and now you're at the point of C. And here's the thing that I want you to hold on to. Planning without action is futile. Action without planning is fatal. I'm going to say that to you again so you really get an understanding. Planning without action is futile. It's a waste of individuals' time, talent, and treasure. And action without planning is fatal. The difference between futility and fatality is simply this. Futile will create a level of frustration in individuals where they feel like they're spinning their wheel. Like I've shared with you my thoughts, I've shared with you my concerns, and nothing is being done. So it's like you're on this wheel and you're just going over. So today you ask me, what's my concern? Tomorrow you've asked me what my concern is. And I've done that. Every time that you've asked, I've given you that information. But as a leader, you've taken the information and done nothing. The fatality of that is if that behavior persists, then I'm not going to respond to you anymore. I'm going to disengage. I'm not going to get involved in answering the questions, because when I give you the answers, you're not doing anything with them that's going to change the narrative. Individuals want to change the narrative when it's not looking good. We all want to be in a position where we're valued. We all want to be in a position where our strengths and our talents are often thrust into the forefront of our daily experience. Therefore, I feel good as a person, and the individuals that I work with, they feel good as well. And not just the internal community, but the external community. Someone walks in and from the street, and because I'm having a great day, and a great day is infectious, and I now want to infect you with my great day. I want you to have a great day because you experienced me on this respective day. So it's important that you take the data that is developed from your survey and develop a relevant, a realistic action plan that will create the environment that you desperately want to have. You want individuals to feel good about coming into your presence. You want individuals to feel good about your brand. You want individuals to come back time and time again. You want individuals to engage in conversations in the external community where they say, hey, when I had an experience with this organization, with this person, with this institution, I felt so good. They welcomed me. They made me feel as if I added value to their day. Therefore, they added value to my day, and I encourage you to go in there because they create this type of experience, this type of ambiance, this type of place where I feel so good about myself as a person. Everyone wants to feel good about themselves. Everyone wants to contribute to making the world a better place. So you got to understand that good planning without good working is absolutely nothing. So you've taken this time to develop this plan, but now you're not doing anything. It's a true waste of individuals' experience and time, talent, and treasure, and they don't like that. If you're looking to change your narrative because now you've recognized that diversity, equity, and inclusion is one major thing that the world has great expectations for, you want to be on the cutting edge of making change and making lives better, expanding your brand, and creating an environment where individuals feel like they have been treated well, both internally and externally. Individuals want to be a part of your organization, a part of your brand. They want to continue to support you because ultimately in supporting you, it's made their life a better experience. That's what this is all about. If you're that organization, if you're that institution, and you're looking to change, change begins by changing the narrative. Taking a look at your culture, taking a look at your real hard look at your culture and your climate, taking a look at diversity, equity, and inclusion, and consciously making a decision about the priority of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then ultimately developing a plan that will help you to change the narrative based upon data, based upon real stuff. Examine your culture and your climate, prioritize diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then develop an action plan that reflects your true desires. It's all about making change. It's all about making change that is appropriate for the moment, change that's relevant within your experience. And we want to be a part of that. So take this easy opportunity, steps 1, 2, and 3. Examine your culture and your climate. Prioritize diversity, equity, and inclusion. Develop your action plan and put that plan to work. I want to see you again on the other side of this experience, and I'm praying that it's going to be a positive one for you. Sometimes you go through a little pain in order to get to the place that you want to go, but it's for good reason. I know that you want to be successful, and I know that your organization wants to speak to people in a manner that is respectful, that provides them a level of dignity, provides them a level of pride because they had an experience with you. That's what it takes to make this life great. That's what it takes to change your narrative. And we want to be a part of that experience. Until we meet again, this is Dr. Dez with the Bowtie Chronicles. Make it a great day on purpose.